people from all walks of life, from entry-level workers to individuals with master's degrees. So, we need anyone that aligns and believes that everyone has a right to work and that everyone deserves to be, that inclusion is a way of being and not just a buzzword.
So I see a lot of people, a lot of business owners, because I know a lot of business owners who are having a hard time hiring people. I mean, even ones I don't know having a hard time hiring people. So they need to essentially reach out to you if they're having a hard time.
Yes, please do reach out to me. I have about 50 workers and about 50 people looking for work.
Before we get started with the show, I'd like to thank our amazing, wonderful, fantastic, great sponsors that make this show possible. One of our sponsors is Recon Marketing. Recon is the fastest growing social media marketing agency in Colorado. Recon focuses on becoming an extension of your business while providing social media management, review management, and digital marketing. Recon Marketing, putting you on the radar. Our next sponsor is Atmos Planning. Atmos Planning is changing the way business owners and real estate investors are served by the financial industry. Their website is atmosplanning.com, ATMOS planning.com. Our next sponsor is Planet Duct. Planet Duct offers astronomical air duct cleaning with the most powerful vacuum trucks in Colorado. They have taken air duct cleaning to a new intergalactic level that is far more powerful and proactive than anything on the market in El Paso County and southern Colorado. Sheath Underwear. Sheath Underwear has a pouch for the boys. It is everyday underwear for every man. 100% money back on the first pair if you don't like it. Visit sheathunderwear.com and enter the code COSBP20 to get 20% off your order. The People's Tiny House Festival is the nation's largest gathering of simple living, featuring van conversions, bus conversions, and tiny houses, of course. Catch the event in Loveland, Colorado, July 16th and 17th at the Ranch Events Complex. Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, the #1 podcast in Colorado Springs. My name is Andrew Hasley, and I am the host of the show. Today, I'm sitting here for the second time, Theresa Garcia, owner of Rubi's Positive Empowerment. It's been about a year since you were on the show. Things have changed in a big way. You got a new office. You got just some cool things. You wanted to give us a little update of what your business is for those who don't know, and the things you got going on?
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here.
Yeah.
So we are job matchmakers, pairing adults with disabilities to their ideal employers.
Okay, sweet. See, not everyone knows to address the audience. So that was pretty natural for you. Yeah, sweet. Okay, sweet. So we'll get more into that in this episode, but first we're going to roll the intro music and then we'll get started. Okay. This is a show where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners who are mostly in Colorado Springs doing things in the community of Colorado Springs. Or my house, because I was like, why am I spending 8 hours a week driving back and forth, all this gas, driving back and forth. So I think that's just finding those little processes is so important as business owners. I think that can really help you move forward, because why am I spending 8 hours a week driving back and forth? That's time I could spend either on myself or on my business, So I think getting that time back has just been, getting into the motion of changing the routine like that. It took a few days and I was like, man, it's slowing me down. But then because I kept having to run back to the office to grab something, but yeah, it was cool. And yeah, just wanted to add that as part of the business podcast,
Nice.
Is finding those systems and processes. And speaking of those, what kind of systems and processes have you improved upon over the last year since you've been on?
About every process that we have. Quite frankly, we got so crystal clear on all of our standards of operations, because what I found was, things can always be interpreted based on the person doing the specific tasks. So we broke every single thing down Barney style so that it is crystal clear.
I like that. Yeah. Did you have songs with it too?
No, no songs. That would be fun though.
Yeah. No, for sure. So what is the difference between last year and this year? What are some of the biggest changes you've made?
Well, for one, we went from a 200 square foot office to a 2,000 square foot office.
Okay.
For two, we completely revamped our branding and website and all of those fun little intricate parts. We've amped up our culture tremendously so that our coaches are consistently doing different stress reducing techniques. When we come into our meetings, they look different. We start with either a breathing technique or a meditation, and then we get into our values, and then we address what we need to address so that we're always coming together grounded and fully present in what's going on. We grew about 460%, which was really amazing. And then, of course, last year in the last 12 months, we've placed a little over 50 individuals in meaningful employment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We have a lot more community partners, which has been phenomenal.
What's a community partner?
So they are businesses that align with our value and mission, and that come to us for their employment needs.
Okay. And what is the benefits these community partners get when they work with you?
So they get a ton of benefits, actually. First of all, our services, are paid for by the state of Colorado's Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. So they get all of our support at no cost to them.
Wow.
Our clients are supported in that training process. So we go through the natural training with the individual that we serve, and then we create natural supports, which is just a different way of saying, standards of operation, SOPs. And, that is a huge benefit, especially for smaller businesses that know their business really well, but maybe struggle a little bit with the operational aspect of things. And by us going through that natural training, it allows the business owner or the staff that is in charge of that to focus on what moves the business forward. And we ensure that those expectations are met.
Okay.
And so your training costs are reduced. And then they're also eligible for the WOTC tax credit, which is anywhere from, I believe, $2,400 to $9,600 of a tax break. And that's just one of them. There's so many more out there as well. We're not experts in the tax department, but we do have a simple form that they can fill out to receive that benefit. So really just reducing cost, helping, giving opportunity to a population who is often overlooked, in particular because of the natural hiring process, right? A lot of the folks that we work with struggle significantly with the interviewing process, but they have these skills that are so strong. And we work with people that really want to work and that are eager to get it right. I think that one of the biggest challenges with our current workforce is that so many people just want a paycheck, and so they don't really care about their job. And the people we work with really care. They're also less likely to call off, and they have a longer retention than some of our typical employees.
So what are some of the things you do to help these people get through those interview skills or those interviews? What are some of the things you do to help them to ensure their success?
So we actually all of our services are recommended. So the clients that we serve, they get to choose, what they want to focus on. But pretty much, I would say at least 99.99% of the people we work with want to work on interviewing skills. So we teach them that. And then we do mock interviews, and we show them how to research the company, and we make sure that their values are aligned. On our day one with our clients, what we're doing is we're filling out a form to really get to understand what they like, what makes them tick, where they've been successful before and where those shortcomings are, so that everything is fully transparent and that we're only applying to things that align with their natural abilities, right? We do have people that maybe haven't had experience in a particular field. And so in those situations, DVR will often offer a paid work experience. Well, it's essentially an internship to a local business where the state actually pays their wages and fully insures them while they're on the site. So you essentially get a free worker, at least for about 160 hours and until they really have, gotten experience, and then we'll go find employment from there. Oftentimes those paid work experiences, the owners want to hire the individuals because they're already trained and they know what they're doing and they already see that they're a good fit.
For sure. Yeah. And that training part is the biggest hurdle when it comes to hiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's essentially paid for by the state?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so how does someone go about hiring someone through you guys?
So they go through the natural hiring process,
Okay.
And then we're just there to support. So it's still, they would go through their natural payroll onboarding processes, and then we're just there to support in any way possible.
Okay. And what are some of the community partners that you would like to have? That you like? Obviously, having more community partners makes you more effective, right?
Yes. Well, the reality is that we need community partners in every field. We have welders, we have, medical professionals, we have, people seeking manufacturing work, we have people seeking retail work. I mean, we have, individuals seeking work as an editor. We have people in every single field. So with our clientele, we work with people from all walks of life, from entry-level workers to individuals with master's degrees. So, we need anyone that aligns and believes that everyone has a right to work and that everyone deserves to be, that inclusion is a way of being and not just a buzzword.
For sure, yeah. And do you like, not do you like, but yeah, I guess do you prefer actually to work with local small businesses over like say a Walmart or is anything count?
I will always have a heart for small businesses. As a small business, I understand the struggle. However, we have had so much success with Walmart, and Walmart's diversity and inclusion goals are not just something that they put on their website. They actually act on that. And I mean, we have had a few clients at various Walmarts, and they have treated our clients incredibly well. And, many of them have been stable there for, over a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm a huge fan of Sam Walton, who is the founder of Walmart, just because of his drive and his entrepreneurial spirit. I know he gets a bad rap, and saying that can trigger some people just because there's some things in the 90s or 80s that happened that that they don't like, and anyone who's a billionaire obviously has those issues. More money, more problems. Or bigger problems. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Sam Walton. I think he did a lot of things that was forward thinking, and I didn't know that they were so inclusive, like on the disability side though.
Yeah.
What could other companies do to be, I guess, in this situation more like Walmart?
Really just, getting in line with your own perception and understanding that disability does not equate to inability. It just means that they have, a unique way about them. And quite frankly, most of us are unique individuals, right? And so I just kind of getting rid of that perception. I think that, there's only been a couple businesses that I've contacted that said, we can't hire someone with a disability because you have to have, specific strengths. And I'm like, well, this guy has been doing, HVAC, for instance, for 15 years. He's very skilled in this field, and so just understanding if you're triggered by that word, go to our social media, go to our Facebook page, Ruby's Positive Empowerment, and we've already posted, there's free trainings on disability awareness, and we recently posted a link to it. There's a whole toolkit for employers to kind of break open that perception. And then once you decide that this is something that you want, contact me. You can go to rpempowerment.com and schedule a consult with me. Tell me what your needs are, and I will only bring people that match your needs. I don't care about just getting someone a job. The only way I'm successful is if they're successful in that role.
Yeah. And I think the way we use words are powerful, and I like how you said once you decide, not if you decide. You already know that it's a good thing. You didn't say if, you said once. And I like that, and I think that's very powerful, and how and shows how you feel about that. And so with disabilities, what does that mean? Like, what can it mean?
So we work with intellectual, physical, and mental disabilities. So it looks like a lot of different things, quite frankly. There's really no mold. And I think that's one of the things I love about my job so much is I'm interacting with so many different people from all walks of life.
Yeah, I think, there's connotations to the word disability, and it doesn't mean that just because someone's disabled doesn't mean they cannot lift over 50 pounds or
true.
And like it may be in some cases, but like it's not in every situation.
Exactly.
And I think that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of that word disability. I think someone who's unable to move things.
Yes.
But it actually can mean more than just that.
Definitely. I mean, I have so many people that can move, hundreds of pounds. Like,
Yeah.
There's no limitation there. There may be someone who has a specific limitation, but we wouldn't go after a job that they couldn't physically do. And so one of the things that the state of Colorado does is they send them to a doctor and they figure out what those limitations are when they're designing their job goal. And so, the other piece to keep in mind is, I am very intentional with my words. And that's why I say individuals with a disability. And I don't focus on the disability. I focus on the individual, because at the end of the day, the disability just may mean that, in some instances, they may have to try something a different way. But I don't want that to be the focus. However, at the same time, I'm very transparent about everything, right? And so I like everyone to know exactly what they're getting into, so that coming in, what are those abilities? What could be a limitation if there are any, right? Because a lot of times I think I've only asked in the 4 years that I've been in business, we've only needed to request a couple reasonable accommodations. It's not something that I do consistently, because we really go after those jobs that, this person will be successful in, either based off their skills or their training.
So
or both.
So why did you get into this field?
I stumbled into it, quite frankly. I struggled immensely when I moved to Colorado with finding a job. I went through a lot of jobs, and it was a horrible experience. You
should have moved here now.
No, I'm glad I'm here, because quite frankly, the people that I serve have been underserved for way too long, and that's what keeps me going. But my struggle, I went to an interview for a mentorship position, and they said, based on your experience and your goals, your life goals, I think you'd be better here in supported employment. And quite frankly, I thought they were crazy. I was like, I hate applications. I hate rejections. I've been rejected a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd be good at this. And
they somehow oversaw something that you couldn't see.
But I also think that particular company needed a fill. They needed someone to go into that position. And because I had, my big goal is to have a group home for kids aging out of foster care, in which we it's geared towards employment. So they would be compensated for daily self-care so that we can build those habits and also create more self-love and confidence and increase decision-making skills. But then I want to expose them to as many occupations as possible and then curtail their development in that. And so when I told the owner of the company that, she was like, yeah, I think supported employment would be right up your alley.
Yeah.
And so...
And you joined working for someone else, right?
Yes, I was only there for a very short time. I mean, within 2 weeks or within a week, I redesigned the department, and it went from being very ineffective to very effective. And I got DVR's attention, in particular, Brittany Kipe. And
Brittany Kipe, that's Amber Kozlowski's business partner, right?
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. So I told her, I was like, oh, this environment is not very healthy for me. I think I'm going to have to go. Would you be a reference for me, please? And she said, you should start your own. You're one of the best providers I have in Colorado Springs, and you should start your own.
Yeah, and so you did.
Okay. I would have never had the confidence had she not said that.
And then, so what did that look like when you went out and started your own?
Well, I just, registered the LLC and applied to be a vendor under my Social Security as just an individual 1099 contractor. And then, as soon as I was approved, it took about 4 or 5 months. I got my first client and I just ran with it. I did everything on my own the first year. And then I had about 20, 30 clients, and I got in a car accident.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I felt like it was very bad physically. It took a very long time for me to heal, and I hired basically out of fear because one of my clients lost their job. He didn't have the support that he needed, and I felt horrible. And so I was like, I'm going to hire someone, and just kept going from there.
Yeah. So what did that look like for me in my business? I'm at a point where I need to actually try to take that step. And so how did you actually go out and hire someone?
So my first hire was actually someone that I had worked with before.
Okay.
And so I didn't necessarily put up an ad. And at first I was like, I'm going to give you some of the clients that really need support. I explained, and unfortunately, I was on bed rest. I was in so much pain. I gave them very minimal training, if I'm being honest, because I was incapacitated.
Yeah.
To effect. But he ran with it, and he did really, really well. He was a natural supporter. He had really, really good educational background. He was a genius in some areas, in particular science. And so he had mentored and coached before, and where I was working with him, he was a lead as well.
Okay.
And so I knew he had the skills. And so I just gave him a few of the clients and some training, and he ran with it, and he did well, very well in the beginning.
Good.
So.
Yeah. I had a question, but I was just trying to think.
I think the hardest part, though, was really developing the standard operating procedures.
Okay.
Quite frankly, and so that took a lot of time. And if I'm being honest, I'm still implementing new standards because we find things that I think are super simple, like scheduling clients, and people struggle with it, and I create a standard around it so that everyone's on the same page. I think that was the hardest part. And the other piece that was really scary was like the idea of ensuring their work or their wages, right? That was really scary.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm most afraid to hire, because I want to make sure that I have enough work for them. So it's like that's huge, and so it's like if now people are relying on you for their paychecks, so it's like you got to make sure that you do that.
So if I had to do it all over again, I would have actually hired sooner.
That's what everyone tells me. It's
scary, but what happens is you start off with a part-timer, right? And you pay unemployment insurance, and it's like 0.01% or something of their pay. I barely even notice it coming out of my account.
Okay.
So you have that level of security because if they do have to go on unemployment, you have an insurance for that, right? But what it does is it allows them to do the day-to-day things. And as you're training that first person, you're writing out all of your standards, unless you're working with me, and then we're doing it for you.
Oh,
But
I may just go straight to you then.
but you develop all of those standards, and by having those, you have confidence that they know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it on a consistent basis. Because the challenge is that often when you train someone, they're like, "Ooh, I got this," and then a month or two later, they've made it their own, and that might not be the way that you want them to do it.
Yeah.
And so you get very clear on those standards, and then you know that it's being done efficiently and effectively, and then you're able to grow your business.
And the more you do that, the more efficient it gets, the better you get.
Yes.
Like you said, you're still implementing and developing it, and it probably will be something that's ongoing and growing. Like, that's cool.
Because every person that you bring in brings on a new perception and may have a different, they have unique challenges with things that maybe, you were natural at, and so you didn't think that you needed it for that, but then you find out that you did. And then, to me, clarity is kind. So being as clear as you can is kind to your employee, but it also gives you a level of confidence knowing that it's done right.
Yeah, for sure. And then
your way.
and then retaining employees is another thing.
Yeah. That's been one of my greatest struggles. And I know in the beginning it was because I had a lack of standards. And so, people would, go through that natural training, and then they wouldn't follow procedures. And then, you have to address it. And I don't think that people intentionally lie. I think, one of the things I got from a book that I read, To Think Like a Psychologist, was that naturally when someone does something wrong, their natural reaction is to make an excuse. And so, having those standards, there's no frickin' excuses.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. And I love talking to you about hiring because essentially, if you think about it, you're a professional hirer.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what you do. Like your business is getting people hired. So it's like, no, you have like a different perspective, I think, than the average person, especially since something you do day in, day out, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because it's very different when you're helping someone get a job, because you get to see the good and the struggle. When you're hiring naturally, basically everyone's inflating or, telling you the stories that they think that you want to hear. And they don't always give you, the actual weakness or their actual challenges. And so when you're not working with me, you can often be blindsided by things and say, well, you did this in this job. Like I had someone who was, applied behavioral analysis professional, where you have to document every little thing, and they didn't do their paperwork. And I was like, well, you did it in your past. What's going on now?
Yeah.
Whereas with my clients, you get the full picture and not just the filtered Photoshop.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Yeah. I was just kind of thinking, it may be wrong, it may be right. I don't know. Maybe there's no wrong or right, like some people say. It just is. But it's kind of like maybe you have an advantage being a woman, because when it comes to dating, men often lie, I think. Or not just lie, but inflate who they are. I could see that, and like I don't know, if that's true or not, because you're a woman, you may have experience with dealing with hiring people.
Well, no, actually, what I noticed and my biggest failure so far is that I would get these people with, double master's degrees and these beautiful resumes. And, I got excited off of that piece of paper, and then they got in and pretended to work or like whatever. And so I've messed up there where I now tell myself this is a piece of paper, and just because they have these great credentials doesn't mean that they're going to be a great
It's personality, so you
worker.
probably have a deeper personality assessment.
So the personality assessment is definitely getting better, especially since I read that book.
Yeah.
How to read people.
How to Read People is the book?
Yes.
Okay.
How to and I can't quote the title, but I can totally send you an image of it or let you use it if you'd like. But it talks about all the little things that we do to indicate maybe not that they're not in alignment or being completely honest. And it also brings in questions that you can ask opposed to just saying, what are your values? You bring in these different questions that are a roundabout and that give you an unique perspective of what they value without directly asking, so that there's less bias being given.
For sure. And you can kind of help cut through all that crap.
Yeah. And I will say that this past year, my hiring has been phenomenal.
Okay.
We had one person that didn't work out, but other than that, it's been really, really good.
So would there be a conflict of interest if you hired people you were working with?
I would say yes, but at the same time, I've done it. I have, because we hired someone who we were working with that really just wanted very part-time data entry work.
Okay, and you're like, we got data.
We've got data. Let's do this. Great person, but there was other things that I wasn't aware of that we noticed, and we found out that it wasn't a good fit. And from there, what we said is we won't hire any of our clients again, but what we will do is if we have a retired client that we've worked with for, a while and that we know really well, and they would be a good fit and they come to us for an employment, then we would consider it. But we'll never hire someone that we're directly working with again.
And I was thinking like conflict of interest as well, like, legally, maybe would there be any legal troubles down the line?
I don't believe so. I mean, we're very transparent. So DVR knew that we had hired this person. And then when we had struggles, he wasn't, it was recommended that he find a new provider by the state of Colorado, just because there had been some challenges there. But, it was definitely a learning process for me. And so, yeah.
Yeah, because I could see how that could be like, you're working with this person, but you're also hiring them too. So it's like, it can make things a little tricky.
Well, when we hired them, we stopped working with them.
Oh, okay. They had to go through a different agency or something?
No. They actually, we were just going to train them. And it went really well. There was a car accident. And then after that, it wasn't a good fit. But it was a mutual understanding. It wasn't like, you need to go. It was like, I'm struggling with the things that naturally were easy for me. And so I think that,
for sure,
that this might not work anymore. So it was a mutual thing.
Well, sweet. So where do you plan to take this company? What is you talked a little bit about why when you got into the company, some of your visions that you had, have those changed, or are those pretty on par still?
We are pivoting for sure.
Okay.
So in the next week, we should have our Medicaid ID, which will allow us to expand our services to individuals. So we'll be doing transition program, which we are actively seeking just short meetings with employers that are noticing any kind of deficit in their employees, so that we can work on those skills with our folks that are 18 to 21 in transition programs, so that we can provide a better workforce for Colorado Springs. The other thing we're doing is we're going to be also adding a mentorship for the individuals that we serve. And, of course, we'll continue with supported employment and the things that we do there. Another thing that we're doing is I am about 2 months away from being certified as a hollow body coach through Mind Valley.
Okay.
So what that is going to do is it's going to add an employee wellness leg to our business. So we are going to offer corporate and small business subscriptions to help employees reach their health and wellness goals. And for us, and I'll, I'm still in the training, obviously, but the way we see health and fitness is not just what you eat and working out. Like health is your mindset, right? Limiting beliefs hold us back. Your gut health, your daily activities, the routines that you have in your life are either supporting your health and wellness or they're limiting it. So we look at that as from a holistic perspective, and we believe in micro habits to increase all areas of your life.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually working on optimizing a lot of things in my life right now, so that's something I'm very, very interested in. Haven't heard of the hollow body coaching, but I'm learning a lot of things. Basically, I'm learning a lot of things from podcasts, but I definitely like. There's some really good podcasts from some really established professors, established educators, people who are putting together some really amazing things that just have allowed me to learn a lot of things, I think. But there's listening and learning, and then there's practice and implementing. So that's two different things.
Yeah. And that's what we believe is like the 2% shifts, the really small degrees.
Like Atomic Habits with James Clear, who wrote that. Like his whole idea was 1%. These big top performers. He told a story about like London or something was always losing the Tour de France, but then they got this new person who adjusted micro 1% things, and like he like set records, or something like that. Like it was crazy, but and then they tried it on other things. That 1%, those micros, I think are huge, and there's a lot of evidence that supports it.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and really hammering in on that mindset, right? So, it's so fun because I'm already practicing the coaching for my certificate. And I mean, it was so life-giving when I did this visualization process for the first time. And my client was it's this 3 scenes technique.
So you're doing it with your clients?
Yes.
Okay.
But not with separate clients, not with DVR clients.
Okay, gotcha.
I have practice clients that I'm working with right now to get my certification.
Got you.
And I went through this 3 scenes technique. It's about 5 minutes. First, I bring you into the alpha state of mind, and then we work on whatever problem you're dealing with. And this person had been struggling with this problem for years. And in the first session, came up with a clear visual of how to solve it.
Okay.
Efficiently and right away.
Wow, okay.
It was the most cost-effective way that he has thought of so far, and he actually visualized it. I was not expecting a visualization the first time, and it happened, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Now you just got to implement it, right?
Yeah, and we've got really simple techniques when you're trying to start a new habit. I've got another visualization process that you do one time that will make it to where as soon as you wake up, it's the first thing you're thinking about. And so it's fun. I'm so excited about that.
That is good because a lot of people wake up and they get into like their regular old routines that they've been using or doing, like not even thinking, just zombified a little bit. But if you're energized waking up, that's another thing.
Yeah, we've got the 7-minute peaceful warrior routine that we recommend doing in the morning. And even if you can't do the full 7 minutes, there's a 45 second version.
Okay.
So that no matter what, you don't feel like a failure because you didn't do it. You can at least do this 30-second thing.
Yeah.
Or if not, then pick a 1 second thing, right?
Well, that goes back to the micro stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because in that book, Atomic Habits, he talks about, when it comes to like maybe you want to like build muscle or something like that, you know, if like you're doing push-ups, like maybe you just do one push-up, you know, and then or maybe do 5 or 10, you know, keep it low and then increase that slowly over time. The most important thing is making it a habit, because once you do that, that's bigger than anything, because a lot of people they'll give up on something, and like, but if you're slowly increasing it and you're making the threshold easy, building that habit is more important than actually building the muscle at first, because once you do that, or muscle, whatever kind of thing you're trying to build, because it's just, it's crazy, you know, like to think that 1% increase, you know, just, you know, only add one more push-up, it compounds. That's the crazy thing. Like if you're doing it for the long haul, if you're adding one push-up a day, in 30 days, you're doing 30 push-ups. In 90 days, you're doing 90 push-ups. In a year, you probably have to slow it down.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I totally got a pull-up bar on my office door, so that every time I leave, I'm doing one pull-up.
Nice.
And I can't do a full pull-up, so I'm jumping up and then slowly letting down.
Yeah, pull-ups can be tricky though, because you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. So are you going to be adding this as part of your service for Rubies?
yeah, so this is going to be for employers or individuals.
Okay.
So I'll have the hollow body coaching along with the heart math coaching, and just figuring out what tools and tricks work for each individual that I'm serving. And then on a corporate level, what's cool is that, you know, if you have 200 employees, like I have a really simple assessment that can occur to figure out where their most need is. And they can do self-paced training through the Mind Valley courses, where we have experts from every modality that you can think of. I mean, from flow state to building your business to health and fitness, every single aspect. We have things like 10X, which is very simple techniques that you can do in your office with like bands to, you know, increase your fitness level.
Okay.
So we've got things for everyone, and I love it.
Nice. Okay. So I see a lot of people, a lot of business owners, because I know a lot of business owners who are having a hard time hiring people. I mean, even ones I don't know, having a hard time hiring people. So they need to essentially reach out to you if they're having a hard time.
Yeah, yes, please do reach out to me. I have about 50 workers and about 50 people looking for work. And even if I don't have a fit right now, I may have one in a week or two. I'm onboarding about 6 clients right now. And if I don't have someone that fits your needs, what I do is I type up your needs and I share it with the entire network. So there's maybe, and I'm totally guessing here, you know, 20 or more providers available. Well, I'm going to send it to DVR and the business outreach specialist, and they'll share it with all those providers. And so you could very well have an awesome person very quickly, even if I don't have them just yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just, you know, I seen that, you know, even people I don't know. I mean, I'm in a lot of local groups on Facebook, you know, a lot of people are having issues, you know, hiring people. So it's like you literally have a pool of people who are looking for work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And no recruiter fees, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite the opposite, actually. You get, you know, you get tax credits, you get this, you get lots of benefits.
Save money.
Yes.
And fill your hiring needs.
Exactly.
It's a no-brainer, man.
Sweet. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we start closing this out? Or let people know?
No, I mean, other than just reaching out to me, have a one-on-one, whether you're, you know, even if you're not ready to hire yet, and maybe you could use an intern or anything, just reach out. rpempowerment.com. You can schedule a consult with me, and I look forward to meeting everyone.
I'm going to schedule a consult soon because I have like 15 down my list of get an intern, you know, hire someone. But I have like 15 other things I need to take care of first. But I need to just move that to the top of the list because that's the reason why it's been about 15 items down the list for about 2 months now because I keep doing other things and other things keep piling up. And so it's like I really need to figure that out.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to grow has to have employees. You have to have someone doing those day-to-day things so that you can grow.
Exactly. Yeah. It's what before I even started my business full time, it's what my mentors were telling me from the get-go. And I was just like, I'm going to do it myself. And here I am still doing it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sweet. It was great having you on the show.
Thank you.
Where can people find you at?
So you can check us out on our website, our Facebook page, Ruby's Positive Empowerment, rpempowerment.com. If you want to give me a call, 719-235-8777.
And also, I think we talked about it on the last episode. You're Theresa. Who's Ruby?
Ruby is my middle name.
Okay.
And so actually it's a fun story because I grew up in a very racist environment, and I was very ashamed of my African American heritage. And so I used to lie, and I used to say that my name was Renee. And I stopped that as I got older, but to name my business Ruby really felt like I was stepping into my power and honoring all of me.
I love that. That's sweet. And you guys have a tree there. We talked a little bit about that. we don't have to go into that right now, but yeah, that's like your company's logo is a tree, right?
Yeah. I've been called Tree since I was little, and honestly, it represents strength, flexibility, and it's life-giving, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love that. That's so great.
Thanks.
Well, sweet. It's been a great time having you on the show. I like to think, with every episode we get better. And I think, if you compare last year's episode with this episode, it'll be better.
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much.
All right. Sweet. Thank you. This has been the COS Business Podcast. And bye-bye. Peace and love. Peace and love. All right. Yeah, that was good. We got into flow there
Yeah, there was no, I wasn't nervous, so that's amazing. Thank you. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Last time I was here, I could barely breathe.